Hey everybody, welcome again to eChannel News. We've got James Davis. He's the TPS advisory guy, and he's been working on cybersecurity for a long, long time. And he's figured out a way to help more MSPs, and we're here to figure out exactly how that works. James, welcome. How you doing, man?
Thanks for having me back, mate. It's been busy since we last caught up, so I'm staying afloat and partners need more help than ever. So trying my best to help as many people as I can.
Fighting the good fight, my friend. There you go. All right. Well, let's first of all, for those who don't know the TPS, what is it about?
So the TSP advisory, I pretty much just engage with the leading partners down here in the APAC region to help them understand where they're heading, be able to articulate it, and then take pragmatic action to transform their businesses to meet the modern client needs. So involved with like 10 or so partners at one time. And I'm just trying to share the information that I build and the IP that I've got from that into the wider industry to help everyone elevate.
Good for you. Congrats. I mean, look, James, sometimes you wonder, right? Why are we even having a conversation today about how to get cybersecurity right? You'd think that MSPs would have figured out by now that this is mission critical and they got to get up to speed. What's your take on why everybody is not really doing what they're supposed to do?
I think there's a few reasons. I think it goes back to a lot of MSP started as that break fix shop. So we're used to that reactiveness and it's still ingrained in us. So we were used to being that white knight that would come in and save the day in small business and solve their technology problems because the technology wasn't that great 10, 20 years ago. Where now it's shifted and evolved quite a lot where we should be focused more on management. And then that cybersecurity side is a bit of a dark arts for a lot of MSPs because they don't understand the approach to managing through best practices around aligning to frameworks. They're used to just fixing broken things. So that change is difficult. We should have, like, to be honest, at this point, it's a choice not to adapt to it from my perspective. We've got enough information around there. There's been enough help to help partners understand that better. Like the S&B 1001 framework down here is really helping a lot of partners go to clients. But also, I think it's just the mindset and the attitude of partners are making assumptions about their clients around what they will spend, what they need, without actually understanding the client landscape. Things have shifted. The value of what clients wanted us for in the past isn't what they want for us now. But then also there's the dynamic around a whole lot of our clients' businesses are going to go up for sale. I saw a stat the other day from MyOb that about 280,000 Australian businesses are going to be up for sale in the next 5 years. To put that in perspective, that's nearly like 35% of all employing businesses in Australia because all the baby boomers are exiting. So they're actually not spending because they don't want to. But we're not having the right conversations with our clients. So it's all of that. And a lot of partners are just stalling out.
It almost sometimes, James, I mean, I don't know if you get the feeling that it's just useless trying to push that thing up a hill, you know? Whoever is already on the journey, they're on. Whoever is not, it's sort of like the train's left the building. Do you think there's still hope? I mean, for real, to get more
Uh,
people in that's mental space?
uh, Honestly, no, it's a bit like the transition from break fix to managed services. There's still a whole bunch of partners that are only just starting the managed services journey. That ship sailed 15 years ago. There is always going to be those laggards. And I think we are past that point of we're into the masses of partners, and you do either get it or you don't. And for a lot of partners, they're older. They've been doing this for a long time. It is a big transformation to do this properly, and they just don't have the energy. So my advice has been to a lot of partners, exit. This is the best time to cash out and get some form of reward for all your hard work. Where if you keep going like you're going and don't actually transform and don't evolve to meet your clients' needs, your business value is going to shrink. And I've already started to see that
Mm.
additional client churn. It's just ramping up year on year. And I keep feeling like I'm saying every year this is the highest amount of client churn I've ever seen, and it just keeps going up. So everything we've been talking about over the last couple of years together, Julian, it's happening. It's in motion, and you've got to get on, or you're going to get left behind very, very quickly.
It's real. It's reality. And the real. Sometimes I hear people talk about cybersecurity and why it's important at an MSP level, and I kind of like look with a weird look, like, really, are we talking about this still? And the reality is, look, the craziest one I've heard from an MSP was that, look, man, if you just do a little two-factor thought, two-factor stuff, and you train them a little bit how to recognize some phishing problems, you're 99% there. I mean, and I was like taken back by the simplicity of the statement. And then in my head, I wondered, is that what you tell your clients? Like, do two-factor, watch out for phishing, and is that it? How do you feel about, well, what do you think about that, first of all? Is that insane, or is that real?
I think that's it's the frame of reference people have got. It's that unconscious incompetence stage in the four stages of competence. So still a lot of partners don't know what they don't know, and they don't realize it. And so it's coming from a good place. Like, there's very few partners that are malicious and dodgy. They're just not as well informed as they need to be. So they see and look at what they've done in the past, and what they're doing now is better than what they've done in the past, and that's good. But just because you're doing better than what you did in the past doesn't mean you're actually doing good and you're working to best practice. And for a lot of partners, unfortunately, probably they're not the ones that watch this kind of stuff, because if they did, they would have a lot better awareness in the first place. A lot of partners are just so head down in their own little world, because they're so busy trying to run their business and survive, that they're not sticking their head up to look at what's going on in the industry, what's going on in the market, what they should be doing. And for me in cyber, we should already be at that baseline point. There's clear baseline standards that we should be driving by default in everything that we do. And the mindset, nothing annoys me more than the mindset of, let's just bolt cyber on. We should just be doing cyber by default in everything that we do. If we're selling a network upgrade, why aren't we segmenting their network? Why aren't we ensuring that if they do need VPNs, that they're on IPsec and not SSL, and they've got MFA and all of these other things? Why aren't we doing that by default? But that goes back to, for a lot of partners, they go back to making assumptions of what clients want to spend, instead of being able to go, well, this is what we need by default. This is going to be why it costs what it does. But if you spend this up front, you're going to have a much better time now with an investment than you will in the future. And yeah, some clients won't buy that. They will try and nickel and dime. But the majority, from my experience, most SMBs, if you give them the right advice and the right knowledge, they will spend what they need to spend. They might do it reluctantly, but they'll do it because you're supposed to be their trusted technology partner. They will take that advice and do it, and they'll be better off for it. But we make these assumptions, they won't spend, so we'll cut corners. We won't put these baselines in by default, and then we'll try and sell it later. But we don't actually sell it because we're not good at sales. So these things are what come back to bite us. And you mentioned like the 2FA. There's still partners that wouldn't have MFA on Microsoft 365 because they're worried about it impacts the clients. But it's going to impact them far more when we don't have it. And that's the attitude that we always give, instead of being that sort of professional industry of going, here's the standards minimum. And then from there, it becomes a lot more tailored or bespoke by the business and what their actual requirements are and their regulations. But it's well-trodden standards at this point. Again, I go back to the SMB 1001 standard. There's a great outline of what we should be doing for basic technical controls. There's the Essential 8, there's Cyber Essentials. Like, they're all the same. They've all got the same minimum. So why aren't we doing that by default in our packages and what we deliver?
Sometimes I almost never like to bring it up about, why some are just not doing it right, because it's almost like takes the conversation down to the lowest denominator. And so let's assume that not everybody can be saved. And let's move the conversation up to the ones who would like to be saved or to like to move to the next level. So the market, obviously, the MSP model is changing, right? I think AI is actually accelerating that change a lot more than we anticipated because it's new headwinds that they're facing. What's your definition of what you think the next generation of an MSP is going to look like?
So for me, there's a reason why I call things the TSPs, so technology solution partners. And for me, it's not what we actually call ourselves. That's sort of irrelevant. What matters is what a client knows us as, and how they treat us, because the way that we act. And so for me, there's a whole lot of business models and stuff I could talk about, but it boils down to two things, quite simply. We either need to be an advisory-led organization that's helping the clients actually leverage technology to increase their efficiencies, reduce their risk, enable scale and growth in those businesses. Or we need to be a technology specialist. We understand a certain vertical, like we're talking about cybersecurity as an example. Well, there's a speciality. In the SMB world, we all know clients will go to one tech partner to get what they need. It's not the mid-market or enterprise where they'll get 30 or 40 different partners in to come do specific things. The
Mm,
SMB space wants that tech partner. So that's going to be the advisory. But those advisory-led organizations, we're not going to be able to scale enough to cover 12 major technology categories and all the subcategories to be able to deliver everything. So we're going to need specialist partners that know their stuff to be able to come in and deliver things to our clients. And that's where I see our industry's going. And it's already in motion, going that way. I'm seeing that next generation of partners. That's how they're helping clients. That's how they're getting new business, because the outcoming is that traditional MSP. The value isn't around end user support and traditional IT infrastructure. It's more broad than that. It's understanding the client's needs and then bringing them a portfolio of solutions. We're not trying to ram a
mm,
rigid stack down them. We're providing standardized solutions that we can scale, but we're doing through that with our own core capabilities
yeah.
or through delivery partners.
Yeah, it's like this is what I sell. This is what you must buy. Let's go. It's like every one size should fit for everybody. But okay, so let's moving beyond the acronyms of who they are and what this next generation of channel partners will be, whoever they are. It all seems to be centric around outcomes. It's like if you want to boil it down to one darn thing, it's like what outcomes are you really delivering, and what outcomes does your customers want, and are those outcomes in line with each other? Seems to me the litmus test at the end. Are we there?
I think that's a much better way of summarizing it. And those outcomes are going to be different based on what sort of verticals we work with, what
Mm,
sort of size and segments. And we're going to be able to deliver those outcomes in different ways. Like if we bring it back to cybersecurity, for most clients, it's not the technical controls that really matters and is a true outcome. They're just things that we put in place to mitigate some risks. What really matters is more for the clients is the GRC aspect around what are we governing around their business? What risks do they really have from a business perspective? What are we doing to mitigate those risks? And then how are we showing that we're maintaining that compliance against them? And how you deliver that can be in very different ways. There's opportunities to come in from an advisory perspective in the first place. We said, like what we were talking about before, there's baseline standards that we can wrap around them by default, and that's the level we come in at. There's much different ways in all of those sort of areas to deliver outcomes, but we can't deliver outcomes if we don't understand our clients. And for me, that's probably the biggest thing that I'm seeing in this space is the MSPs have gotten so far away from talking to their clients frequently enough about the right things, where most of us have defaulted to this is what we do and sell. Let's talk to them from that perspective and then just get them up to scratch in that. And that was okay probably 10, 15 years ago where environments weren't good and we needed to get them to baseline IT standards. But the world's shifted and we haven't kept up because we haven't engaged them at the right level and we're not asking the right questions. The partners that are doing that are being more successful. They're the ones that are picking up all the client churn.
It seems like the QBRs, like you're doing your quarterly, reviews with your business clients and trying to figure out where we are, where you're going. It's sort of like it's diluted, it's not really there anymore. It's more like how many tickets you did, and here's why I have to send you this invoice for $5,000 because if everything is going smoothly, then why the hell am I paying you, right? Usually I only paid you when I needed you type thing in the past. And so they're kind of like justifying their QBRs are more justifying why they're billing as opposed to like, how do we help move your business, forward? Do you see that as a bit of a weakness on some of the MSPs playbook?
Yeah, it's fairly standard. I think if we look 5, 10 years ago, the mature ones got to that point of running a QBR, and it was really just about IT health and modern standards that we're trying to get clients up to. And that was appropriate. Like if you look at the hierarchy of needs, we needed to get them to a solid foundational base in their IT environments. The problem is we haven't kept moving forward and adapting and evolving with our clients' needs is the real challenge. And a lot of that is because we're not understanding our clients well enough, but it's also, be fair as well, a lot of us don't have the skills and capabilities in our business to act at that level either. Everyone talks about go be strategic with your clients. Well,
Oh, yeah.
exactly how it's yes, you can ask a few questions and you can understand them better, but to be a proper strategic partner, you need to actually be leading them. And that's a completely different skill set and experience set. And for most of us in the SMB MSP space, our people aren't really highly skilled. And I don't say that as a judgment. It's reality. We've got people that are good at resolving technical issues in certain things. They're not necessarily architect and engineering level because they usually cycle out and go up into the mid-market and enterprise firms or specialists because there's bigger challenges. Our account managers are good people, but they're not business people that can come from a top level and talk to a CEO and a board and drive a direction and agenda. Those are very different skills and people that are coming in, let alone when you start getting into like GRC, talk about, you mentioned AI. So when you get into productivity and workflow automation, again, those are different skills. This stuff isn't a bolt on. It's not that logical next step where we went from selling hardware to T&M to managed services. This is a big transformation and a curve jump. And this is what annoys me about a lot of industry talking heads is they sound like, well, you just bolt on cyber. Well, cyber is its own skill set. GRC is its own industry and different people and different knowledge, let alone when we get into these other ones. Like we need to actually transform our business models. And that means we need to change our operating practices. That means we need to change the types of people that we're hiring and bringing on. And for a lot of partners, that's extremely difficult. And not just from the transformation side, they actually can't afford it. The industry's running at 6% EBITDA. I can't really afford to bring in like a 150K GRC resource because all of a sudden I go from 6% EBITDA down to probably -5 without having the business and the sales to start driving that. So I think going back to where we started the conversation, there's a reason why a lot of partners aren't changing. It's not just that lack of knowledge or energy. It's a big risk to actually change because of the financial impact. And a lot of people are stuck because of that. But if you don't take these risks, your business is going to go backwards anyway. So that's that paralysis that people are
Yeah.
finding, even if they know what they sort of want to do, they don't know how.
It's a catch 22, man. Look, and that's I guess one of the reasons why you created this assessment, which is really cool. So let's talk a bit about that. So, you mean at the end of the day, you don't know what you don't know. You got to know where you're starting from, and you can't get there if you don't know where you are. So you need to start at some point. So tell us a bit about this maturity test that you've developed.
So I've created a basic assessment. It's based on 10 operating categories in a modern technology services business. And in each area in this basic assessment, I've got two questions per area that are outlining 6 levels of maturity. So people can come in and go, it'll be something like, what are we doing around our cyber posture and alignment to frameworks for us and our client? And there's 6 descriptive answers that are objective ways for people to go, where am I actually now? What am I actually doing? And then being able to see what the next stages of maturity look like. And the purpose of this was really to help people understand where they are, but also shine the light on what's the next sort of level for them so that they can take action. Because if I'm doing X, Y, Z, if I'm not aligned to a framework and the next level of maturity is I'm aligned to S&B 1001 silver, well, I know the next step I need to take. And this basic assessment is just to really get people thinking about cover some of those major questions that we need to. And then I've extended that in to create a full assessment, which will be through the Channel Guru community that's got the 10 categories, 20 questions each category. So there's a total of 200 questions. It's like 1,200 answers. So people can start mapping out their transformation journey. And whether that's to help them mature slightly to be able to exit in the next year or two, or if it's to help them on their longer term transformation journey. I just got sort of sick of a lot of high level awareness stuff and not enough help, pragmatic help for partners. And there's only like one other equivalent to this in the world. So I thought this is a good way to just help people benchmark. Everyone loves a good benchmark. And this can help you get out of it instead of that sort of traditional, there's one size fits all answers. Our businesses are more complicated than that. There's multiple different partner models. So this was built as an agnostic way for different kinds of tech partners to see where they're at in their business functions and then modify their actions through it.
I mean, at the end of the day, right? It's kind of like it also will help you decide if you want to go forward or not. This is really going to be this is what I got to do, and then you've got to decide, yeah, yes or no. It's a time for a decision, right? Because I'm not quite sure that you could move forward by doing the same things or making micro adjustments. I think you need to make some significant major adjustments, right? And if not, bad actors and AI is not forgiving, right? They will force you. You will pay a price, and the price is simply too high, isn't it?
Unfortunately, it is like you really got to want it. And like the first, I've got a whole category around business strategy and planning, because you need to know what you want to do, and then you've got to develop an identity and then put a stake in the ground and go ahead to it. It isn't just floating about and doing micro changes like what you said. We can't keep optimizing a tanking model. We need to transform to meet our clients' needs. It's irrelevant of what the industry is telling us all. We need to deliver to what our clients actually need and want. And it's clear that our traditional offerings aren't meeting those client needs anymore. The clients are they're walking, like they're walking with their feet and going elsewhere. So it's pretty clear that most of us aren't doing what we need to do. And so we need to change. And if you don't want to change, that's okay. But I'd suggest
There's
exit,
lots of other
crash
things you
out.
could do in life, right? You could ride a race car. You can you do biking, tour the world, do something else. But look, it's not for the faint of heart. Is the bottom line, man. The game has changed. I've seen it. It's I don't envy the position of an MSP. I think it's one of the toughest jobs in the world. And the transformation is like just when you thought life could get easier. It's like the shark thing. You're afraid to go back in the water because now you've got compliance issues and regulation issues and cyber insurance stuff. And then is that enough? No. Let's sprinkle in a little bit of AI fairy dust, right? Just to make things a little more exciting. And these days, as you know, James, at the end customer level, the C-suite's talking AI, right? As a matter of fact, I think that's what's taking up the entire conversation. Like, how do we use AI to beat up the competition? How do we do this? And so therefore, AI is now the new shiny ball, right? That it's not just gravitating the mind share, but it's also taking away the wallet share as well. So, your job just got a lot harder in trying to convince them to invest in different technologies if it's not somehow centric around AI. How are you seeing AI, taking the oxygen out of the room these days?
It's very much a hype cycle, but what I mean by that is the AI buzzword is a hype cycle. When you scratch the surface, like you said, the C-suite and board are very much what are we doing with AI? But when you go talk to this level of people, they don't actually know what they need, and so that's actually the opportunity is coming as an advisor, understanding their business, because there's no one size fits all. That you can't just go flog a co-pilot license and solve all the world's problems. Actually got to understand how their business operates, where are the challenges or opportunities that you can leverage technology to increase efficiency or enable scale and growth, and then wrap around how to mitigate risks when you do this. This is why cybersecurity by default is important. But you need to understand what use cases there are. And this is where it becomes complicated because you need to understand how departments run in different verticals, what systems that they've already got, what challenges and opportunities have they got, and then what's a use case that you can roll some technology in to either save them money and time to do something else, but enable them to cut heads, or enable them to generate more revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And the traditional just flog a license is pretty much just like you've got a hammer looking for nails. You've got to actually come up and have a whole suite of potential solutions for these different situations, and then take them on a journey, not only of implementing the technology, but then driving the adoption and use inside the organization. And this is very different to what a lot of traditional partners do. The VARs are used to just flogging some stuff and moving on. The MSPs are just used to providing end user support in infrastructure management. It's only really the systems integrators that are like used to this kind of work. So there's a lot of a transformation of our business model, but more importantly, it's actually our approach to our clients. We actually need to get deeper with them. We need to think about this more holistically than a small sliver than what we're used to. And a lot of partners are going to struggle with this, and it's going to be non-traditional partners that are going to take this space. I'm seeing financial advisory firms starting to get in the technology space because they've got all the money, they can go buy resources, but they're also at the strategic level. They're already used to working in business. They're already used to having these conversations. So the dynamics are going to change hugely, but the opportunity to come in as an advisor is massive.
It's harder to go upstream than it is to go downstream, right? So the one thing is, like, just recently, August, I think 8 or so, MIT released a research that says 95% of AI projects at enterprise have failed. Well, I guess 5% was successful, but I'm curious to know why they failed as opposed to like what failed, right? That it failed generally. Maybe it's just still in progress and it takes time to flesh it out. Maybe people are just getting used to like a new way of doing business and so on. But all things being equal, we're seeing AI being able to do things that we never thought possible before. and therefore the potential is there, right? And no one is an expert right now, really,
Yeah.
right? There's a birth of or the rise of the AI consultants, all right? But those are just the ones who just decide to label themselves an AI consultant. There is no, formal certification for that, as there isn't for an MSP. So anybody can become one. The question is, who wants it badly? Who's going to learn more about what is really going to do for a company? As an advisory game, right? I think a lot of the advisory world now, even system integrators, are really talking around how they can, I don't know, layer in AI over a period of time where they can see some outcomes and put some things together. What's your thoughts on how, I know it's a complex thing, but what's your thoughts on how AI should maybe be thought about in this advisory role?
It's small. Like the whole reason why a lot of projects have been failing is the scope is way too broad. If you go down and solve one little challenge or one little opportunity at a time, and it's that continual incremental improvement, driving adoption, transforming how the business works, it all takes time. It isn't just slap some technology and hope the technology works and then hope everyone uses it. It's one thing at a time and keep incrementally stepping through it. Then it's making sure that we've got the right measurements in place. We change the processes. We train the people on adopting that technology to keep that success going. And it's not a big bang thing. It's just continual, slow, well thought out incremental improvement. It's much easier to say we're going to solve an invoicing process. If we just go, we're going to solve this particular invoice type first, and then we'll do the next one, then we'll do the next one, then we'll do the next one, rather than going, we're just going to solve all the world's problems around finance and invoicing. And that's where it takes an advisor level person to actually come in and help a client understand, rather than being that sort of typical tech partner of, yes, 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 we'll just deliver you a project because that's what you asked for. Clients actually need us to challenge them back, and they need us to help them go through a process of a change and adoption as well. And that's
Steady.
an advisory. It is slow and steady, and that's way higher profits. That's way more revenue opportunities over the long term than trying to get those flash in the pan, quick wins and big dollars that all it does is look like we're no good at our job when we're claiming to be that AI consultant.
For sure. There's a really funny graphic I saw. It's like a funny cartoon. And anyways, it's got this big yacht, right? And some people are talking on the boat, and they're saying, "Hey, man, how did you get the boss to splurge to buy this big yacht?" And I says, "Yeah." And all I said was, "We're launching some AI." And on the boat's got AI on it, right? They call the boat AI. We're launching AI. So it's kind of like it says it all, right? That if you just say the word AI, you get some funding, but what you do with it, right? Maybe they're trying to do too much too fast, and on top of that, AI is getting, it's getting bigger, better, smarter every time, and more tools to use it better and easier. And so wait, don't rush it. Take your time, and we'll see where that goes. James, I'll leave you with the last, wrapping up here, right? I mean, I love the idea of having this maturity kind of like assessment to help these folks understand where they are in this journey, because everybody just thinks they are where they are, like they think that their business valuation is worth that much more than it really is. And they have this preconceived notion about, where things are at. And the reality is, this is a reality check to say, oh, on a scale, I'm using it very, figuratively, but on a scale of 1 to 10, I may think I'm at a 10 or 11, but when I take this assessment, I see that I'm at a 4, and then I realize, wait a minute, why am I at a 4? How did I get here? How did I not move forward? Very similar to the 50 best managed IT companies assessment that we run, where it gives them a bit of an overview generally of their best practices. And it's quite interesting once they start to ask themselves, the right 240 questions, as opposed to trying to come up with answers to questions they haven't even asked themselves. As a matter of fact, I think the game is asking better questions will get you the better answers, the right answers. Um, what's your summarize all this for me, James? Put us in a box here for me. What do you want the folks to do, and how are you helping them to get there?
So what I really want people is just to stick their head up, stop looking internally, because that's been our frame of reference of the past. And unless you're really a high performer and you're doing really great, most of us aren't. Like, and that's okay. It's a continual improvement journey, but you've got to stick up your head out of your business and look at what's going on with your clients, and then what's going on in the industry, and then what's going on with the peers. And if you only look at similar peers, if you're on Reddit talking to other Reddit people, you're not exactly going to hear from the high performing, well run tech partners because they don't sit on Reddit. So you've got to actually go look for that sort of knowledge. And that's what I'm hoping that the assessment can help people do, is start to stick their head up and look at things a different way. And then get involved in the right communities. Like, get involved in like the channel gurus, the ConnectWise Evolves, the Cyber Defense Network, all of those kinds of things, and actually see what the go-givers are giving back from the high-performing partners, and work out where you want to actually head and go for yourself in the business. And then you've got guides to go. So all of this is well-trodden path. Like, none of what we're really talking about is new. Yes, some AI technology is new. I challenge that a lot of it's been around in the enterprise space. It's just come democratized down into our space recently. But the practices to advise, to system integrate, none of this is actually new. It's just new to a lot of us because we've done different things in our business model. So we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We just need to learn what good looks like and then actually go and implement it. And so I'd love for more partners to jump on and do the assessment, and we'll share a lot more benchmarking as well around what does the industry actually look like, and then just keep going forward. Let's just transform. Or I want more partners to consider exiting if they're not going to transform. I just don't want to see partners in tears from all the years of hard work that they've done, losing half their business because clients have churned, and their hard work is just evaporated from around them. I want them to actually cash out while the going's good. I really just want to see great outcomes from everyone that've been slogging their guts out for years, looking after their clients, carrying all this burden and stress. Either transform your business and get even more opportunity than what we've ever had, or exit before the bad stuff starts really happening.
Good words. Is there any cost for them to take the assessment, by the way?
No, it's all free. You can just jump on, do it free. It's obligation free. It's just being hosted by Channel Guru as a place because I didn't want to worry about it. And you just go in, you get the results immediately via email, and you can start taking action.
There you go. And by the way, is there a website link for them to get access to it?
Yeah, just go to channelguru.com, all one word, and you can see the assessment button, and then you can go and access it and dive in for free.
Look, what I'm hearing, James, that you want people to get out of their echo chamber, and start to smell a little bit beyond their own room, and because I see the same problem when I go to events. Groups are all hanging out with themselves, taking their selfies with each other. They're all confirming each other's greatness, and they never get to talk to other people. One of the things I try to do when I go to every event is talk to people that I don't know, just to see exactly what am I missing out there, what's interesting. And I would encourage people to not just get out of their ecosystem and take these assessments, because on top of that, it's free, but also talk to different people and see different perspectives. I mean, man, you what's that thing? It takes a wise man to learn from your mistakes, but an even wiser man to learn from other people's mistakes, right? So get out there, man. Get out of the echo chamber and try to figure out how to, do better. Um, James, keep up the great work, man. I know this is not easy, and in many ways, it's a thankless sport that you're embarking on. People only realize it after you've gone through pain and pain and pain to kind of get there. Um, but we're all in the same small community, my friends. And if we don't help each other, then what's the point, right? It's we got to do something, right?
Just we got to help each other out, and you just to break that echo chamber as well. Go listen to different thought leaders as well. There's a lot of snake oil salesmen. I'm not saying I've got all the answers and I'm all right, and you follow me because I've got the right answers. Just listen to different views and apply them to your identity and your business and what your clients need, and you're going to be in a better spot. You just got to break out of that echo chamber. I think that's a great call out, Julian.
Well, there you go. Well, you can follow me. I have all the answers, but I may lead you off the cliff, so be careful. James, that was a pleasure, man. Keep up the great work, my friend, and let's see where we can do to help everybody. All right, take care.
Thanks,
Cheers.
mate.